Oh my god, so much fun. So this is gonna be cool. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna kind of redo, it's a little bit of a shag, which I know I feel like I've always seen a lot of shags, but I wanna kind of show today how you can do this on a texture where you still want this to feel substantial at the side. So there's gonna be some key differences here, but I wanna kind of show those as we start working it.
Meaning sometimes it can get a little wispy there in the perimeter?
Which is cool, sometimes, but I think sometimes you just like when Natasha showed me the references, she was like, oh, like, she showed me things and there was a fullness in here that I liked. It wasn't all disappeared, so, and sometimes if you cut it all away, it can get a little bit too much. Like it can all go away and be a little sad, honey. So, cool. So I'm gonna start here, and I'm doing a really broad stroke. So the reason why is because Natasha was like, I don't ever blow dry my hair. I always air dry it. And so I find that the more strokes that I can go through that have a sense of separation, everything starts to kind of interlock within itself. And that's what I really want to see. You know, I want to see kind of this stuff start to kind of come alive. So now I've kind of started that. Now I'm gonna do what I think is like a little kind of cutie sneaky bit, honey.
So when you catch her like in her side profile, there's a little...
Yep, a little something.
Je ne sais quoi. What are you thinking about as you're taking these snips? Where you want the hair to lie? What's happening?
Yeah, I'm thinking about where I want the hair to lie. I'm thinking about the angle of the blade. I'm looking at how this, works out. Like, it's like, do I need this? Do I want to keep that? I think I want to keep that. Sometimes I might get rid of it. I'm just thinking about how the hair is reacting and responding. I'm also feeling for tension.
And I notice you're keeping balance by going from side to side.
Yep. And I wanted to just start where kind of I feel like the most change is going to happen.
Oh, nice.
Like, I'm not going to be doing, because I like the length. We like the length, right? We love the length, honey.
I do.
So we want to keep that.
Just give it a little wow factor.
Exactly. So then we're just going to, now this is where things I think are going to start to get pretty.
How you're going to connect your front to your back.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to start taking sections, but I'm going to be looking for things that are just, I'm looking for a little bit.
Where her hair is parting.
Yep, exactly. Because all this will kind of come into play. And I'll show you. So this stuff here, what's really cool about taking and directing all of this forward is that if you have someone who is like, kind of like, I like this vibe going on.
But you
like
can tell they want a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So you can kind of bring this, but it'll also over direct everything. So I'm still gonna keep a really substantial perimeter by over directing this. And then I can always kind of tweak things as we go. Like I can always kind of go through and like shorten some internal pieces if I want to shorten it. But
now, Wes, normally, I hate to jump in here, but normally it's you and Gerard here having all the fun here at Hairstory. So I'm glad I got to step in this one time. I have been wanting to ask you a question.
Yeah.
With so many brands out there, so many great things to love, why Hairstory?
Yeah.
What is it about this brand that you love so much?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that I love. Number one, I love a company that is really smart in their business model, that has thought about the hairdresser as the end. So for us, what I think is really unique is that we have a link that we offer that your clients can use, and meaning that they just click on that link, they go ahead, they purchase everything online, and then you can go ahead and you get credit. But that client is always synced up to you.
Credit, you mean in terms of financial?
It means you're getting a commission.
It means you're getting a commission.
Cash.
Yes,
it's not a credit, honey. It's like, it's cash, honey. But what's happening, what is so cool.
That's wonderful.
So that's what's kind of sweet about the whole thing is like, so what happens as an end result is that you're not paying.
Benefit.
You directly benefit, but you're not holding a lot of inventory on your shelves. That means that you're getting that client is also synced up to you for life because you're their educator. So even if that client moves away, you're still getting paid as long as they purchase. Like great,
Awesome.
I
Super
love stuff like
revolutionary
that.
technology here
Exactly.
with Hair Story. That's amazing.
So I love that. And then also one of the things that I really, really love is the new wash. I mean, the new wash has like a special place.
The product itself.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, I think that's so important. I just don't think anybody in, I don't think anybody in our industry is gonna sell anything that they don't love.
It's true.
I just don't think that we need to, have to. And so I really love the fact that New Wash actually works within the whole, it works within the whole body system, meaning that we produce oil, but that oil protects the hair, and it's designed to kind of keep things nice, perfect, hold in moisture. And the problem is with traditional shampoo is that it strips all of that away, and then you're just left with something that you're just kind of trying to work. I spent most of my career trying to make hair look unshampooed, and I think a lot of us were like, please just don't shampoo your hair that much. That was like the hairdresser whisper. So I feel like now we're in this spot where we don't have to worry about that, because this gently just removes that excess while keeping in the natural moisture that allows the hair to have integrity. So I'm a super, super, super fan of all of that. And so now I'm just kind of checking in on everything. I'm like moving little bits around. I want to see how everything's playing with each other. And like some of this stuff, like, so in here I've got a lot of this, right? This is an opportunity. Now on someone, you could keep this if you were like, oh, I like this kind of fullness, it seems perfect. But there are other times when maybe you look through and you're like, I feel...
Is this working or not?
Exactly. Or could I add a little bit more? And if you want to add a little bit more movement, all you need to do is just grab this and kind of work. And just cut that little excess off. It's gonna kind of layer this a little bit. It's gonna add a little bit more in here. It's an easy way to kind of like...
And I noticed you're intentionally keeping the perimeter out?
Yep, exactly. Because I like that. And I think that like, I think that on Natasha, that's gonna be cool. And I'm also trying to gauge for like, this is gonna pop up, you know?
Once it's dry?
So I wanna make sure that I have enough there. But I'm leaving enough so that there's enough interest in here too. So that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm looking for. And I like big old sections, honey. This is the thing, so.
Well, and Natasha also has the hair that accepts that.
Exactly. And I'm a big old fan of like, because the thing is like, I think everything is cool. And I think everything is a choice. It's just making those choices on the right person, right? So I'm not really into like, this is the good or bad way or any of that. So I'm just kind of taking this, I want to kind of release.
Now, I'm curious, we were talking about the cleansing agent before, the new wash. But there are several other products in the hair store line.
Yeah.
What's your number 2 fave? Which one do you have the crush on?
Gosh,
you can only pick one. I know that they're all good.
Totally. If I were on a hair beach, honey, if I had to only pick one, the truth would be I would go with Hair Balm.
Okay.
I just love Hair Balm. I think that there's just something, it's really super versatile. You want to air dry with it or diffuse with it, which doesn't seem like it would be versatile, but it's great because you can actually add it on dry hair and it will build onto itself. So it's 100% silicone free, which is what I'm looking for on a product that I want to layer and layer and layer. Because how long will you go between washes?
Oh gosh, sometimes like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
even a month.
Really?
So
Yeah.
going really, really long in between washes means that we have to be really smart about our product, right? Because if you put a lot of silicone and it kind of ended up on your scalp, we're gonna be in trouble. So I gotta be really, really thoughtful in that space. Now, all I have to do is just kind of go through here, and I just wanna kind of create just a little light nipping of the ends. How am I doing on time? Am I like
We're doing
done
great.
in, like...
The audience is awesome. There's a link there, so they're all excited about getting new free product from Hair Story.
Oh yeah, totally.
Loving
So
it.
that's another thing I totally forgot. So y'all,
There's the
if you're
link, it's
interested
pinned.
in trying this, it's a non-toxic version that works with
Virtually any hair type.
Yeah.
Is that, would I be correct in saying that?
We have 3 to choose from, so you'll have the option of doing that, but they're all 100% detergent free. We are a cream cleanser. We don't make shampoo. We don't make conditioner. And so if y'all are interested and you want to try it, then go for it, boo. Just press that link. Now this is stuff where I'm really just kind of like lightly going in. This is kind of like what I would consider kind of like the razor version of point cutting. So I don't really, I'm just looking to like nip the ends. Just get a little bit of that erraticness going. I don't want it to be perfect, but I do want to just give these a little bit of a clean. Just make sure. So I'm kind of going in like this.
Pretty much the exact opposite of how you took that front.
Exactly. So
you're just being really methodical.
Exactly. Because that's the thing. It's like this, I need to like, I want this to have a lot. I want this to have a little bit more substantialness to it. And so that means that like, I just, even though I want it to be soft, I want it to really just be very, very, very gentle here. And the broader the stroke, the more that I would create a sense of separation, which I think internally for like Natasha's hair is awesome. But I think externally, I really want this to be really like locked in and really, 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 really like nice and still full. So what I'm looking for is like here. So see how I'm getting the sense of separation, but it doesn't seem weak. That is the difference that I'm looking for. I want this to really feel intentional with what I'm doing. So really just thinking about, and that's what I love kind of about the razor. I think number one, I think the razor is so sharp that it puts you on hyper alert. You're like, right?
You're
like, I don't want to cut anybody and I don't want to cut myself.
And you don't want anybody to come up to you.
Exactly.
Don't tell me that my next client is
totally.
here.
Nope, I'm busy. So this is going to be great for anybody who likes to start to really be engaged in our work. The razor puts you on hyper focus, which means that you really are aware. And I mean, I trust my fingers to execute what my imagination is thinking of. That's a big part of it all, honey. I think that that's why we train so hard. That's why we kind of show up for things like Hairbrain Live, because they allow us to kind of continuously grow.
And see what other people are doing out there.
And I love that. And I always say this, like, I was just at the video awards.
Oh, it's super fun time. Was it last weekend or
Yep,
weekend before?
So I was there. It was so fun. And I just think, like, what a cool community that I feel like that Hairbrain has, like, really
and
bridged that gap.
Super thankful for Hair Stories for being a sponsor of that event.
Oh my God.
The one thing that was great was the international quality, I must say.
Yeah, totally.
So great. People from Spain, from Russia.
Oh, all over. It was
Canada,
so
of
awesome.
course. So you're just bringing everything back.
Yep, anything that just kind of overlays. I mean, I logically know that, like, once I get to this front section,
You're gonna run out of hair.
yeah, so I'm not really even worried about that. I'll check it, but this is really much more, this work for me is much more like a little more intuitive. I can be bigger in my sections, like you said, the hair can handle it, but also I'm thinking about how I can encourage this natural texture to kind of shine through the most. And so taking bigger sections in here means that I'm over directing and there's a center, so I'm already creating something that's more erratic. And then I'm also broadening my stroke. So this is gonna encourage some of this like natural texture to kind of start to come alive. Now at this point, what I really, really wanna do is I really wanna go through and start throwing. I was watching my friend Andy Judd the other day.
Yes.
And I've never used this word, but I think this makes so much sense. Like, they were talking about like cast, like putting a cast on the hair with product.
Oh, yes.
And so I've never really thought of it like that before, but I love this idea of just kind of starting here. So I'm using this product undressed, It's gonna be my cast product.
Because it's just kind of laying right on the surface.
Yep,
You're not.
it's so good.
All right.
And then so it just kind of sets me up. So this will encourage a lot of texture. This is like a salt spray without the salt.
Oh.
So I like the fact that the hair is going to be very conditioned. Now, what I want to do next, because we're here and I want to be a little bit extra. You don't want to get extra, right?
Not at all.
Okay, girl, come on, take this ride with me. So I am doing this.
Which?
That's my favorite. This is my Hairdressers on the Beach.
Yes.
This is my go-to product. Now what I'm doing though is I'm gonna get weird with y'all, but I'm actually taking a little bit of wax.
So we have the balm and the wax together.
Yep.
Awesome.
And
And you're not worried about any kind of maybe flaking or it balming up?
There's sometimes when I feel like this, I feel like there are certain products where you're like, they don't play well together.
They don't like each other.
You gotta layer, but I know that. We've all been playing one time and been like, ooh,
time for the shampoo
milk.
ball.
Exactly. So, but the reason, my logic behind this is the fact that like, I just want a little bit of structure. I oftentimes have waves and curls that just need a little more structure, so I'm looking for that. So I'm gonna get that from the wax, but I'm not looking for it to be like hard.
So pasty. You need
Exactly.
the balm. You need the balm to soften the wax.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And so.
And I noticed that you're really working it in your hands.
Oh yeah. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to stay mostly on
the colored.
Yeah.
Part.
Because the reality is this, like, I have to think about the fact, even though this is a great wax, it's water soluble, but like Natasha likes to go a really long time between washes. So I'm just trying to think about what I can put on the scalp for longevity, because you may be rocking this for a while.
Probably.
Totally. You're like, I'll see you next month. Honey.
Yeah.
So then I like there are some times where there are many people, and I appreciate this, and I do that a lot too, where I'm just doing kind of a regular, I want to kind of teach somebody how to wear their hair natural. But the cool part is like Natasha already knows how to wear their hair natural. So that's the thing. It's like they don't need to know that. Like they have that in the wheelhouse. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this a little bit further, and I just like to kind of grab the sections, and I'm actually just kind of forming everything that I like to see kind of come alive. And this is a cool way, because I think sometimes we also I think it all depends upon how we want to serve our clients. And that looks different in different ways, right? Like sometimes I need to teach someone how to just wear their hair natural. And then other times I just want to teach somebody, I just want to have someone feel really good for that day and do something maybe that they'll never do themselves, which sometimes can look like a blow dry, but most of the time today, I think it's gonna look a little bit more like us making something just a little bit, that thing, but elevated, right?
But just, yep, a little bit better.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the difference between a client and a professional.
Exactly. So, you know.
So you're just basically putting in like a set almost.
Yes,
you
I'm
cleaning up her hairline.
This is what it is.
twirling it.
This is just a modern set. So it's a modern wet set. I'm gonna diffuse it as opposed to like sitting it underneath a dryer.
Yes, because with Natasha's hair, you do want to see it dry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
'Cause
Totally. I want to check stuff. Like I want to check and make sure. Like I'm a big fan of like, even though I like to primarily use the razor for most of the work, like I would go back through and like nip stuff. Like if I look at something and it just looks too weak, then I might go and be like, we got to bring that back to life, honey. So I might do that.
Is refining the favorite part of your haircut, or is it the haircut?
I think the haircut's the favorite part of the haircut, but I think that refining is such a good life lesson, because I think that so many of us as hairdressers have told ourselves so many stories in our head. And I used to be one of those hairdressers where if I didn't get it perfect, I would beat myself up.
Like the day was done.
I'd be like, I'm a bad hairdresser. Like, it's a whole story, right? And the reality is like, I wasn't a bad hairdresser, you just weren't finished. You just needed to.
That's a great point.
You know? So I think some of those stories that we kind of tell ourselves too. I've learned to watch out for stories that you tell yourself that have nothing to do with you. Like, I used to worry about that when I would like have to raise my prices, or when I would ask for like, when I would share a product with something that was like expensive or something like that. I'd have this thing in my head because, you know, I grew up broke and poor in Oklahoma, and that story was like, oh, they'll never pay that. They'll never be able to do that. And I was like,
it was getting it out of your head.
It's getting out of your head to get into where you needed to be. So, and not projecting your own fears onto other people. Can I get an A? Come on.
I felt it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true.
No, I think that's one of our biggest struggles. Like, and also the thing is like, another thing is too that I don't love for, that we as hairdressers do. It's like, I love that we call ourselves artists. I think that's important. I think that's true. But just make sure that you check in with that word, because sometimes we associate like broke artist with artist.
That's true.
And you keep yourself in that space because you think that's more authentic than you building the life that you want. So, cool. I'm gonna work with this Dyson, honey. That's loud, huh?
It's all right. It's good.
Okay. So I like this.
What are you thinking about as you're starting to blow dry?
So I'll mold. I'm a big fan of like, I use kind of high heat. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I don't really care.
You're trying to get the hair dry.
I'm trying to get the hair dry. Like, and also if something gets like fuzzy, well, first of all, I would ask myself like a couple questions. Like,
how is it responding to the heat? Is it too hot? Are the frizzies coming out?
Well,
Should you lower it?
It's also like, the thing is like, I'm kind of like with Natasha, like what we're thinking about is like, she can rock something that has fuzz. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
she's not afraid of it.
No,
I'm not afraid of it.
It's like, it's cool. It's like, I mean, I understand some people don't like it, but like, I also think that can be kind of like sexy and cool and great and airy and like the whole vibe. So like,
within your consultation with Natasha, you guys came up with that it was okay to have fuzz.
No, it's like the reality is I looked at her images. Like, I looked at the visuals. I'm sorry, it says she, didn't I? I'm sorry.
We use both.
So they showed me a really great set of images, and I really just wanted to kind of like go off of that. I mean, I think images provide you with information, not exactly the roadmap, but it'll give you the vibe. You know what I mean?
Without having to express words.
Exactly. And so they were all like very living, very natural.
Got it.
You know, had like bangs, had some sweet little like bits. And also the thing that I really appreciate about like Natasha brought in things that were possible for their hair. And we as hairdressers, I have to let you know, we appreciate that so much.
I was trying to be realistic.
Yes, that is the thing. So sometimes I feel like
coming in with some J-Lo hair may not work.
Exactly.
For Natasha
it's like
at this
one of those
time.
things where you're like, I love you, boo, but like that ain't you, honey.
Yeah.
So, but I also am really excited because I think that the world is changing, and I think that I think the reality is that I think that a lot of clients in the past had to bring in images because they didn't have another choice. But I think that there's a lot more images available of different hair. Like 10 years ago, you were like, you know, it's like, here you go.
Very like maybe run of the mill.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so this is so cool that like we're seeing all the textures, we're seeing all the densities, like, and that just gives someone Well, I think it's important for us to see ourselves, no matter who you are.
I'm curious to know, Wes, because I know that Hair Story, the products are so versatile. If Natasha had super thick hair or even like coily hair,
Yeah.
how would you choose your products?
So it depends upon what I was trying to create at the end. From a cleansing perspective, the way that I would go about that is I would just ask myself 3 basic questions that I always ask myself. Number 1, what's up with the scalp? Like, if the scalp is producing an excess amount of oil,
Oh,
meaning
interesting.
1 to 3 days, then I would go with deep. If someone is producing an amount of oil that is in like
The normal range, quote unquote?
Yep. I mean, like I would say, like, 8, 10 days maybe. I would probably go with the original formula. Now, if someone really, if I were saying, hey, when do you notice oil, and they never actually notice it, then I would recommend that we go with the rich. Because that's going to be the highest level of moisture.
Oh, got it.
We mostly don't talk a ton. When we talk a lot about how the scalp is responding to something, more than we talk about the hair texture.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, because I think that we've kind of all been there where we felt a little bit lost in a way where you're like, wow, it felt like there was a shampoo and conditioner for every little thing, and so this just kind of streamlines the whole thing, which I really love. Ooh, this is getting cool.
I see it coming to life.
Like, this is getting, like, dreamy. Like, I love this stuff. He's like ethereal rope. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's so funny. I always describe my style as like more ethereal, but I allow myself to be super edgy with my hair, so
Yeah.
it never really matches. But maybe now it will.
Yeah, we're gonna connect the 2 worlds. I'm all about some ethereal ropes up in here.
Wes, how do you find your models?
Huh?
How do you find your models? You must go through a lot here in Hair Story.
So, no, it's like so crazy. Hi. We got friends coming.
We sure do.
What's going on? Good. Just doing a little live thing. Come on over. How do we find models? It depends. Like,
I mean, we are in the super hip New York City, so
Yeah.
do you cold confront people on the street?
not in a long time.
Not in a long
Because you know
past
what?
that.
There are things, I'll tell you what, this is the deal. Anybody who has done that like
That type of model
long
call?
4-year type of apprenticeship is like, when you get to a certain point, you're like, I'll be like, I'll do whatever you want. You gotta get the model. So I don't hunt anymore.
Yes, Short is the same way.
So, because we know the pain. We did it before Instagram. So
Yes.
imagine. I would literally be on the street, running around being like, have you ever heard of this hair company? I need a model. Would you be my model?
And people are looking at you like you're absolutely
Oh,
nuts.
they're looking at you like you're crazy.
It's like about 1 out of 10.
They're also kind of offended. They're like, so you're saying I need a haircut? And I'm like, I'm not saying, what I'm saying we could get you one. So, loving the road. Oh, I'm so excited. How is this? Like, how's everybody at home? How y'all feeling about these ropes? These ethereal ropes?
Everyone's loving it. It's nice to see it come alive. Very rarely do we see an actual blow dry. Oftentimes it is, but it is the most important part of the process.
Totally. No, I love that. And also things too, like, I love to kind of grab hair like this and wad it up and then squeeze it. Is this getting too hot for you? You okay?
No, it's good.
Okay. Because the cool part about this Dyson is that this boo gets hot. It really can cook. Which, when you're trying to check something, sometimes you're like, oh, I need it.
So So what are you guys at Hair Story looking forward to next? Did you guys, are you into Fashion Week? Or did you pass on it? It's such a crazy time.
No, I mean, like, the thing is, like, in here, like, you know, I think that our focus is really, like, it's real people really just trying to, like, basically, like, have their best version of themselves. Like, you know, that's what we're trying to do. And so we don't do, like, a lot of, like, fashion week type of stuff. You're not gonna see it, like...
It is crazy there, I must say.
And it's cool, don't get me wrong. And I know people who, like, love it. But we're not doing a ton of that. We do
That's
have a
right,
ton of
stay in your
hairdressers
lane.
that do that, like... But that's what's cool, too, is, like, all the hairdressers get to be kind of their individual selves. What's up? I'm feeling good. You like it? We're doing a cereal roast. You just say hi. So good. Y'all know each other?
I don't think we've met before.
No, we haven't.
Hi, I'm Diaz.
Natasha, nice to meet you.
Last night I actually share a client.
Yeah, so good.
So beautiful. The most magic to color off of a shape that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, right?
So what are you thinking about, Wes? Now that you're trying your shape, thinking about how things are fitting,
This is the thing that I have to say.
what's going through your mind right now with Natasha?
This is the deal. I am thinking of a couple things, but the reality is I think that, like, even though we were talking about how, like, you know, like, I'm not lugging luggage around Fashion Week, I think the thing is that you have to kind of always tap into the reason why you joined this business. And
Because it is quite large.
yeah, there's different reasons for everybody. And for me, I used to look at these, like, beautiful images in, like, Italian Vogue, and the hair felt interesting and off. And I really, like, thought, wow, you know? And from a kid, it's like from Oklahoma, like, I found myself in that oddity. Like, I was like, oh, there's a place where beauty doesn't look exactly like this. And even though I don't think that was as cool and encompassing as it could have been, and I think that we've grown beyond and further to that, but when I look for stuff like this shape and this texture makes me excited. Like, I'm like, interesting, it's off, it's cool, it fucking fits you, like, I'm feeling it for you, we're doing a ethereal rope, like, it's like, it just is, I don't know. There's
How can you call it
special.
work? How can you call it?
So beautiful. You're building contact on me.
Love it. Yeah. And the thing is, too, it's like, and we'll go through and we'll kind of, I'm looking at stuff that I want to refine as well. So, like,
Or it might be like a little bulky, a little build up. You want to see some
or
kind of
just
texture.
stuff where I'm like, I'm asking myself, like, always these things. Like, I have this deal against people using hair to hide as opposed to enhance. And so I'll just look at stuff and I'll be like, well, what would happen if just these two pieces were there? Would I connect more with what's most important, which would be like Natasha's eyes and the whole vibe? You know, I want it to kind of all play together, but not become something that someone's hiding behind. If that makes any sense. That make any damn sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're done hiding.
We're done hiding.
We don't do
honey.
that anymore.
We're here, honey.
Now I know that Hair Story has quite quite a fascinating, robust, diverse social media group of hairdressers that have
Oh yeah.
accumulated towards Hair Story. What how is that? You know, just getting together with so many different personalities and ways of life and working together. Do you guys get together in real life, or is it mostly over the socials?
No, it's mostly over social, and I think the thing is this is that I think the difference is that Hair Story is a very different company.
In a super refreshing way.
So it's like this whole thing where we're really like, you know, I mean, in a traditional past, you would be like, here's the Hair Story way of cutting hair. Here's the Hair Story way of coloring hair. You have to go through our system to be part of our thing. And we're like, why don't you come as you are? Why don't you use the product? And if you like it and you think it works, then
Great.
cool, great. So that's how it's different, because people are pushing. When you see the hairdressers like on Instagram, it's like they're pushing it to the boundary, and that's what's cool. And I teach like a PK class like a lot around the product. And I always tell people, I'm like, I'm only here to give you a baseline so that you can feel confident starting off. But I'm like, you're gonna see some people pushing the boundaries of these products beyond even what I'm saying in this room. And I think that's cool. Because you have to have people be themselves and create what they want to create. And everybody has their own little stage and their own little platform. And like, creativity doesn't belong up there, it belongs here. And so that's what we kind of want to encourage, as opposed to being like, we have a system that you need to go through to become part of us. It's like, what if you were just part of us because you believe in these products that we make and you create what you want out of them? That's the vibe. Love. Oh, right.
Do you think that Hair Story will make another product, or do you think
I
you
do.
can? Yes.
I don't think that we
What's
are...
the team feeling? What's everyone?
You know, it depends. I mean, like, we're not done, but, you know...
Slow and
Jackie-
steady wins the race.
Yeah. I mean, Jackie Bauer is the head of product development. And so, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's a really strict set of guidelines that we have. And so, you know...
Which is not a bad way to be.
No. So it's like, so it takes a little longer. Hey baby, I'm gonna turn the sheet down a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Because it's about to get a little weird.
So
Another head massage?
I know, see?
So you dried the roots last. It seems
Huh?
like you're drying the roots last.
Yeah. I just want to get it all messed up.
So you're relying now on your cast product, the spray.
Yeah. And I'm also like using really like the heat of all this to get weird. Like, I love it when stuff gets weird, man. Like, that's what I'm always asking myself is like, is it off and interesting, or is it just off? Like, oh my god.
If you keep moving it, the answer will reveal itself.
Exactly.
I did notice with Natasha's haircut, you are manipulating and touching her hair quite a bit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Do you find yourself doing that with most clients, or does it depend on the texture?
Oh, yeah. I touch hair. Like, The thing is this, it's like that's why I feel like this. I feel like I don't necessarily like I try and I don't get to know products because I'm like obsessed with products. I get to know products because I want to be able to push myself so far that I get uncomfortable that even if I go too far, I know how to bring it all back. That's why I learned products. Like I'm gonna go so far that if I've gone a little too far, then I'll bring it all back.
Bring it back to the shampoo bowl and start again.
I won't even need to do that. I can just grab for something to like
balance it.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
So I love to touch hair. I know there are people who are like really, but this is also one of those things where like, it all depends upon the client, right? Like, so, like Natasha knows how to wear their hair natural. They know that. So I don't need to be like, let me take you from you blow drying for your entire life to transitioning you into natural. They already have that, so I can push this further because I know also the thing is like I've also been cutting hair for a long time, so I know this haircut's gonna work. Like I'm not nervous about that, so I'm just pushing it because I can push it. And also like I just think it's like sometimes we don't always like not all of my clients are like Natasha, right? Like this is so fun. Like it's great to always find someone who you can just be like, okay, they're cool, I'm down, like the whole thing. But this is the thing. So I kind of want to get this a little weird.
In terms of the shape?
Beautiful. There you go. Cool. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna nip like 2 pieces and then we're done. Was that like, I always get nervous whenever I do hair braiding because what happens is I actually kind of cut hair fast. And one time we were in a...
And your live was 10 minutes long.
No, you know what? We did it on, we were in it's called Long Beach.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, the hair show.
Yes, and it was there's a boat that you can stay on. This has nothing. This the Queen Mary. This has nothing to do with anything. But anyway, I did it, and it was literally like, it was like me and like Jane Matthews and like some other people, and like literally I was like done in 5 minutes. And I was like,
you got the feeling.
I was like, damn.
You couldn't hold back the
feeling.
It
was like so weird. So I always get nervous like that I'm gonna be that one person that's like, hey.
Tapping your toes, waiting for everybody.
Like, how long have I been doing this for?
46 minutes.
Oh my god, this is the longest haircut I've ever given in my entire life.
She's like, you prefer Kelly, I think. Gerard, sorry.
Exactly.
So why did you grab the scissor over the razor?
So I'm grabbing that because I really, whenever I'm looking at, I could do it either way, but I will say this, I'm looking for hybrids here. So this hair sometimes needs a little bit more strength at the ends, and I don't need it to be blunt. I just need it to have a little bit more strength. And so I just want to do that with, just with the scissors.
You achieve it more easily with the scissors.
Look who they are. Yay. I'm telling you all, that's so funny. Gerard gave these to me.
We do love tools.
So, it's like, that's why I'm doing it, because...
And it's just tiny little dustings.
Yeah. It's just little pieces. I'm not afraid of scissors.
You just prefer the razor.
I just prefer to build something with the razor and then kind of look and ask myself what it needs. I mean, and if I were to do razor on like dry hair, which I think can be cool, it is literally, but it's a little bit more of a chewed effect, which I think is really cool. If like maybe you were doing like maybe a little like, remember when you were kids and you used to cut like Barbie's hair?
Yes.
Like how it'd be chewed up a little bit? Like,
Definitely.
It's better chewed like that on someone who likes their hair to look chewed and the right amount of density. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, but I'm looking more for like soft, not chewed today. You feel me on that? You're not looking to look chewed, honey. Come on now.